having me. Thank you for this introduction, Bente. It's really nice to be here today. And you kind of taken the first slide where I'm actually supposed to present myself, so please go on. So Dancing for Norway is a national competency resource center for dance art in Norway. We were established in 1994. The 90s brought a big blossoming period for the Norwegian dance scene. Also in a way connected to the Olympic Games of Lillehammer, Dansens År, which was a year of celebrating the free independent dance scene in 1903. So, and also the politicians for the first time kind of acknowledged that the free independent dance scene was kind of acknowledged to be existing actually in the early 90s. So that was a part of this blossoming period for the free independent dance scene. Danseinformasjonen, Dancing for Norway were established. And one of the mandates that we got was to work towards having a own scene for dance at Dansens Hus. So we own Dansens Hus in Oslo, and this is the administration part of the Dansens Hus, and the scene is just behind it. So we are a non-profit organization. We have funding from the state and the municipality, and we have 5 employees in all. As I mentioned, we are the sole shareholders of Dansens Hus, and located in Oslo. So what we do, we aim to make dance more visible, and that is quite hard actually, and it's not getting any easier, I'm sorry to say. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the context of Norwegian dance, but it feels like we had an opportunity in the 90s, and that is kind of given a lot of attention, and then it goes downward. We talk about criticals, reviews in papers, acknowledging the free independent dance scene. That's kind of a decrease from the politicians, but also from the press, etc. We work for the increased attention for the dance art, and this is some of the things that we do in Dancing for Norway. Do anyone here know the work of Dancing for? Have you heard about it before?
Yes.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. So we have a website, we have the social media, we have a weekly newsletter in Norwegian, so please follow if you're interested to learn more about the Norwegian dance field. We have a dance library, we have lectures, arranged seminars like this that several of you attended in early November. We have an annual honorary award, so therefore I cannot attend the dinner tonight because I'm going home, because we have this annual honorary award on Saturday, so we have a lot to arrange and to work with. We offer guidance to newly educated dancers, but also those who need guidance like later in their career. We rent out a really nice rehearsal space for dance artists, which actually is a lost project. We rent the space quite quite expensive, and then we rent it out to dancers for a less cheap price, so then we kind of lose a lot of money, but that's how we're supposed to work, to be the right supporter of dance artists. We also are the national coordinator for the International Dance Day, and we do have a performance calendar, and at least we have a dance archive, which I will tell you more about each day. So dance art in Norway is the least institutional art form, meaning that we have we got a state-funded school education for dance art, the latest. Dance, in a way, gets the less funded money in the Arts Council. It's not that it's not giving money, but it's less than the music department, it's less than the theatre scene, etc. We have fixed support for 3 companies in Norway. That's National Ballet. It was established in 1958. So your Royal Ballet was established in 1748, about 200 years before us. Of course, due to the unions with both Denmark and Sweden, we didn't have this cultural, the Royal Ballet, the Royal Houses that Sweden and Denmark has. And then we have Carte Blanche, situated in Bergen, was a normal company established in 1984, but then in 1989 was handpicked by the government to be the next regional company, contemporary dance, situated in Bergen. And then the latest newcomer is Nagelskir Productions, that is funded by the county of Akershus, and they have like a 4-year contract and kind of getting a new year added on, but you don't know how for long that will go on. So they don't engage dancers on a regular basis, but National Ballet and Carte Blanche, they are the only places you can be engaged as a dancer in Norway. About 70 dancers are engaged permanently. And then you have, of course, dance in the theatres, musicals, etc. But all other dance in Norway is created in the free independent dance scene, and that's about 90% of what is shown is made in the free independent dance scene that is financed by the Arts Council Norway. So that's kind of that. So the consequence of this context in the Norwegian setting with only 3 companies are that documentation of a dance history in Norway has been left to the different choreographers, the different companies, left to individuals, and archive material was found in attics, basements, suitcases and plastic bags. I'm not sure if you know, but Anne Borgs, this sets Anne Borgs archive, the archival of Anne Borg, which was a soloist in the National Ballet. She was the principal of the Statens Balletthøgskole, the state-funded ballet school. She led different official reports and did a lot of important work. It both feels good, but also a bit strange to get this kind of really important person, and then you kind of can get this suitcase with like lots of different archival material. But that's the case. This is how it works. So then Dance Info Norway saw that we needed to do something about this, and we saw the need to collect this and preserve this documentation that was spread around the dance art field. And we engaged in 2 different history projects, first collecting material, and that was in 1997, like 3-4 years after we were established. So then the focus was to do a lot of interviews, because you actually saw that a lot of the older generation were about to leave us. So that was kind of the first thing to do, and then I did a lot of video and audio interviews. And 10 years later we had a new history project that was both interviews and also collecting material, both digital but also physical material. And then after that project that ended in 2012, we had a lot of material, and we're not archivists. So that was kind of the problem with this was, oh, what we do now? And also kind of felt a bit responsible because having all this material in our premises, which is not safe, like in terms of fire or whatever. This is like the Norwegian dance history. It's a big responsibility. So then we we did engage in the 3rd project that we got money from the Arkivverket. What is that in, you understand? Like the National Archive in Norway. To organize, to catalog and digitize this collected material, and also to hand over this material to the National Archive when we are finished with it. So that's kind of the main term, and this kind of felt really huge relief from the shoulders when the National Archives kind of, this is important, we need to support this work. Next, please. So a big part of this work is actually to organize different, you saw the suitcases from Anne Borg, that needed a lot of work to organize, to be able to find a form that both students, researchers, artists can come and look at the archive. And also to apply metadata, which is really important, because if we hand over the suitcase to the National Archive, the pictures, the videos, documents would be out of context. Now we can apply as much information as we can, meaning names on dancers, name on productions, performances, whatever information like we have a lot of network in the free independent scene, and in this case the national ballet company. So we tend to take them into lunch and give them the archive. Okay, who's this, who's that, whatever. Yeah. So this is really important part of the process. It's time consuming, but it's really important for the life of this material in long term. And then we also do the cataloging, and because of the agreement with National Archive, we have to use a archival database. It's called ASTA. It is kind of quite boring to look at, but simulates the original archive with archive boxes and folders, etc. Really, for those who are like structured in their mind, it's kind of the same as you see in the physical material. So the dance archive today exists of about 90 physical private archives with 55 shelf meters, 23 digital archives. And we have done in these 2 different history projects about over 70 interviews with prominent figures from the dance field, which several of them have since passed on. So that's really important part of it, because As you all know, we can have a lot of documents about the dance, but how we talk about it, how you present yourself, how you will engage in what you have done is also a big part of the documentation of your art career. So we have a total of around 150,000 documents, existing of documents, programs, photographs, audio recordings, and videos. We have the agreement with the National Archive, as I said, and this is registered as a catalog. And this catalog is also searchable online. You can't find the documents. You can only see what is the naming of the folders in this archive. But hopefully everything will be published in the Digital Archive, which is the National Archive's publication channel for archival material. But that is kind of something we're working towards, because the Digital Archive is not for the moment being suitable for videos or photographs. So they are working on this thing because there's been a lot of development going on in the National Archive sector for this type of material. They're used to use the documents, but not the other formats of the material. So this is an ongoing process. And then the work continues. It's already mentioned, but we are now in the 4th project, and it's about sharing knowledge, about increasing awareness in the free independent dance scene, and how to document and how to archive, and to talk about it at least, because we see how important it is. Dance field, 90% of what is happening is created by the artists in independent dancing. If they don't document, if they don't archive, we will have a poor archive. In the end, it might seem that we have a national branch in 150 years, and that would actually be a crisis in the Norwegian scene, because it's just a small fragment of the dance scene. So this is really important to get the artists to kind of be empowered to take responsibility themselves. How do I archive? What do I want to be standing after my career? And that's kind of giving them the power to kind of self-archive, and not seeing the archive as something you have to do. This is another report for funding bodies, kind of how would I like this project to be archived? How would I like this project be visible for the next generations after me? So we had this 3-day seminar in November with about 100 participants, and with that I kind of feel that this is important. We reached both the archival sector, working with smaller archives, but a lot of dance artists, free independent dance artists. And we all, in 2025, we plan to have course. We will have fewer participants and going closer. So kind of, if we were working with you and your archive, you will come to us and we will share like in a group of 10 to 15 people. What's my problem? I have this archive material, what do I do with it? So kind of going more hands-on into it. It's the next phase. And also to publish a user manual, both for the smaller archive institutions but also for the dance field. What is the first step? How can I think about how should I archive? What power do I have? And we want more archives, because we know that there are several archives in the dance field that we don't have. We want them, but this also has this huge economical side, because we do a lot of other things, so the dance archive is just only one thing of the dance information portfolio of work. And as you see, all these projects, that is the dance archive project, they are projects. They are not part of the regular funding that we have, and that's kind of also a problem with this, because we are placed in the Kulturministeriet, which gives money for being out in the culture sector, and when we talk to them, yeah, the dance archive, perfect, but that's the archival sector. And go to the archival sector, no, you are funded by the cultural. So this is a problem that we are navigating in between different sectors. But the National Archive see this is really important and have given us support several projects. But still projects, and that's kind of a problem, as it is a problem in the dance field, because it's all projects all the way. Yes, I think we're getting closer here. I just want to talk about because to have this dance archive, and also Rich Archive, is really important for the dance art and dance artists, and that is something that we have talked a lot about. The archive means to have a history, identity. It also means pride for several people, less loneliness. That was something we got different, like younger artists talk about after the seminar. I feel less lonely going into this field, being like really fragmented and being alone, and then suddenly seeing the history, seeing different people. I didn't know that one, I didn't know that one. And it's giving, the archive is giving the access to the past. It's been inspiration for many people. Here is a picture of Svendal that's been revisiting Øvrea Ballet, which was the first modern dance group in Norway. Not a reenactment, but inspirated, that's not the name. Thank you. From the Øvrea Ballet and several performances they had on this museum right outside of Oslo. And it's knowledge for today, the archive, for the future through the past. Yes? One example of documentation, because the dance item is quite a classical archive, how we work, but still we do some different archive projects, and this is one of them. So it was a 2020 project where we wanted to collect and map and make history visible. So the street dance and hip hop field is starting to be interested in their own history, but still are really spread and really not collected in environment, also like strong different persons in that environment, milieu. And we had a reference group of five people from different segments of the hip hop and street environment. And the aim was to make a timeline, not to write a book, but the first step in a way, just to give a timeline for different important milestones. And that was not an easy task, because what should be in a timeline and what should not be in a timeline. For instance, we have included, in Norway, they're like the hip hop and street kind of have the birthmark in 1984, the movie Beat Street. That was kind of a marker. But we discussed a lot, should we include the 1960s and 1970s and before the 84, because that is also important, but still it might seem that the hip hop evolved in Norway if we kind of include these early years. And that is not the case, as you all know. So there are lots of different discussions about what's important and what's not important to include. But really, really nice to do this. This is published online and here in this, like, what's it call it? Leaflet. And then last weekend, we, together with an important like street dance organization in Oslo, Soul Sessions Oslo, we marked the 40th anniversary, 1984-2024. And then we rolled out this timeline, like in a 20-meter long timeline, to them to write on. To kind of give this is not perfect. Of course, there are several, I hope not, but some mistakes and some are left out. And to give the kind of the history back to the people, we rolled out this long timeline and asked them to give input, to correct mistakes and write down your history. And this is something that we want to do often, to kind of engage and also make them own this themselves. And one important really breaker from the early period came to me and said, could I please have another copy of this? Because I got it in 2021 when this was published, but I don't want to put it in my bookshelf. I would like to have it on the table, and I show it to everyone that visiting my house, because this book is so important to me. And I was about to say, it's not a book, it's a timeline, and it's not a lot of mistakes, but some mistakes. It's not. I don't feel it's not really finished, but yeah. But he was really proud. He kind of took pride that his name was in here. He was mentioned. He found his history. He wanted a new copy. So this is also telling me that it's important to acknowledge all the people that were standing on the shoulders and make this history visible. So this is one project we've done. So yeah, different types of mapping the history, and kind of no wrong way, but to kind of have what we do should do, it's important, and hopefully hopefully get inspired by it and not kind of feel that it's heavy and a burden. That's important. That's the contact info if you want to know more about Dance Info and the projects we do. Yeah.